Good morning friends. In today's video we are going to study the figure of speech. As you know that figure of speech is very important part for writing poem or for writing any story or drama to express their deep feeling. Okay, so let's start the figure of speech, but before starting this video I am going to tell you about the figure of speech little in Hindi. Okay, तो हम थोड़ा सा ऐसे समझते हैं कि कभी कभी आपने देखा होगा कि कवि अपनी अपनी जो है रचनाओं में कहता है कि चांदी जैसा तन है तेरा सोने जैसे बाल। तो आप ऐसे करके थोड़ा समझिए, क्या चांदी जैसा तन हो सकता है? और अगर सोने जैसे बाल हैं तो जाइए काटिए उन्हें और मार्केट में जाके बेच दीजिए, देखिए कितना सारा पैसा मिलता है। ऐसा नहीं है, ठीक है। ये केवल और केवल जो है अपनी रचनाओं को अलंकार देने के लिए, उनको जो है ब्यूटिफाइड करने के लिए इसका इस्तेमाल किया जाता है, ठीक है। अब हम बाकी चीजें जो है अपने वीडियो को उसी रूप से इंग्लिश में स्टडी करते हैं। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं। लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द फिगर ऑफ स्पीच। ओके, सी, a figure of speech is a phrase or word having different meanings than its literal meanings. It conveys meanings by identifying or comparing one thing to another which has connotation or meaning familiar to the audience. That is why it is helpful in creating vivid rhetorical effect. Fine. Now the next part is the types of figure of speech. There are lots of types of figure of speech, but in this video we are going to study some important figure of speech like personification, understatement, hyperbole, simile, metaphor, pun, alliteration, irony, allusion. These are few very important figure of speech. We will study one by one in detail with example. So let's start with the personification. Okay, as you know that personification, it occurs when a writer gives human traits to non-human or inanimate object. It is similar to metaphor and simile that also use comparison between the two objects. For instance, let's see, there is one example. Hadn't she felt it in every touch of the sunshine as its golden fingertips pressed her lids open and bound their way through her hair. See, these lines are taken from the Mother's Recompense. It is written by Edith Wharton. Okay, so in these lines the speaker is personifying this sunshine as it has the fingertips that bound their way into her hair. So this is trait of using fingertips in hair is a human one. So we can say that as sunshine is using as a fingertip, so it means poet is trying to personify sunshine with a human being. Okay, so this is an example of personification. Fine. Now the next part is hyperbole. So what is hyperbole? We will study here. See, hyperbole uses the extreme aggregation. It exaggerate to lay emphasis on a certain quality or feature. It stirs up emotions among the reader. These emotions could be about happiness, romance, inspiration, laughter, or sadness. So this is hyperbole. Fine. So we will study the example of hyperbole also. One example is here. See, I'll love you, dear, I'll love you, till China and Africa meet, and the river jumps over the mountain, and the salmon sing in the street. So as you know that this is an example of hyperbole as till China and Africa meet. As you know that Africa and China will never meet, so it is an example of hyperbole. See, these lines are taken from As I Walked Out One Evening, and it is written by W.H. Auden. And in this poem, Auden has used the hyperbole to stress on how long his love is beloved would last. And just imagine when China and Africa would meet and the river jump up over the mountains. So how salmon can be intelligent enough so that it could sing and evolve enough and walk the street. So never China and Africa will meet, nor salmon sing, and nor river jump over the mountain. So this is an very good example of hyperbole. Fine. And the next figure of speech is understatement. So in understatement we will study the understatement uses less than whatever is intended, such as one example is here. See, you killed my family and I don't like that kind of thing. So what happened in this line? See, the one very big incident has taken place, means someone's family has been killed, but how he or she is reacting, that is not a good kind of thing. So in this statement, this is called the understatement. Fine. So you killed my family, I don't like that kind of thing. These lines are taken from the Chosen One, and it is written by Boone Collins and Rob Senator. In this line, the speaker is using an understatement because someone has killed his family and he is just taking it very normal, like nothing serious has happened. So this is understatement. Or one more thing, understatement and hyperbole, both are the opposite figure of speech to each other. Now the next figure of speech is in front of you. In this figure of speech, this is simile. And what is simile? It is a type of comparison between things or objects by using as or like. See the following example. In this example, few lines are here. My heart is like a singing bird whose nest is in water shoot, and my heart is like an apple tree, my heart is like a rainbow shell. See, the line has been taken from the poem A Birthday, and it is written by the Christina Rossetti. And in these lines, Rossetti has used simile thrice in this poem, comparing her heart to a singing word. See, heart is comparing to a singing word with like, as I told you that like and as is shown. The figure of speech is simile. So they are comparing with the singing word and apple of tree. Along with, the poet makes comparison of heart to a happy bird in a nest, an apple tree full with fruits, and a beautiful shell in the sea full of peace and joy. Okay, so this is a wonderful example of simile. The lines are taken from A Birthday, written by Christina. Now the next figure of speech is metaphor. See, metaphor is comparing two unlike objects or things which have some common qualities. For example, one instance is here: the presentiment is that long shadow on the lawn, indicative that suns go down, the notice to the startled grass that darkness is about to pass. Okay, now see what happened in these lines. In these lines, presentiment is a long shadow on the lawn. So presentiment is that long shadow on the lawn. The poem is written by the Emily Dickinson, and in this example, Dickinson presentiment as a shadow, and presentiment, the actual meaning of presentiment is anxiety or foreboding. But here the poet calls or compare it with the shadow. So this is the example of the metaphor, and in this comparison, as or and like has not been used by the poet. Fine. So see, in fact, she makes compare with its shadow to provide a better description of anxiety that could creep up in a person's life and cause fear. Okay, so presentiment is comparing with the shadow, and good example of metaphor. Now the next figure of speech is pun. So what is pun? See, pun is a manipulation of words that have more than one meanings. It brings humor in an expression. Let's take an example. Whoever hath her wish, how dost thy will, and will to boot, and will in overplus. So what is in this poem? See, this is a sonnet written by William Shakespeare, and in this sonnet, it is the use of odd grammar rule, which is the capitalization of word will. So see, there is a capitalization of word will, and usually in the middle of a line or sentence, writers capitalized a name. So here it is a first name of Shakespeare. It means he has created pun for his own name. Okay, so this is pun. So pun is a manipulation of word that have more than one meaning. Now the next figure of speech is alliteration. Okay, so the meaning of alliteration is, it means the close repetition of consonant sound in a single line of a poem. For example, see the example: with metal mixed in my path like mad. So here the repetition of M sound. Okay, and the another example is, and lifted the lad to his feet. Here T and D sound is repeating. So this is the good example of alliteration. Now the next figure of speech is irony. So it brings out the difference between what one says and what one intends, or between reality and appearance. This is also very important figure of speech, and it also resembles like the hyperbole. So what happened here? See an example. Irony is implied in what old Caspar tells about the war and how he describes it in the poem After Blenheim. After Blenheim, as you know that it is written by the Robert Southey, and in this poem, the poet is expressing the cause of the war by the old Caspar, and old Caspar is showing that it is the great victory by the British army, but it is not expressed actually. It is not expressed by the old Caspar that what happened actually. So this is a good example of the irony in this poem. Now the next figure of speech is allusion. See, what is allusion? It means referring to some person, incident, etc. from the past. It may be a reference to mythology, literature, history, culture, or religion. So one example for you from the figure of speech allusion is that my true account lest he returning chide. So this allusion has been taken from the biblical story of the master and his servant. Okay, so this my true account lest he returning chide. This shows a proper figure of speech of allusion. Okay, and this is incident happened in the biblical, and it is taken from there. So in these are the few figure of speech, and there are many figure of speech also. We will continue with those figure of speech in the another video. In this video, you can study, you can understand these figure of speech, and if you are facing any problem, you can contact me. You can talk me with the help of the comment box section. If you like this video, share this video to all your friends. Okay, and click the like button also, okay, and watch them again and again till you understand better. Thank you very much for watching this video.